Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you. Pretty big update today. We're going to be taking a look at the new Forbidden and Limited list. We're going to just go ahead and dive right on into it. There's a bunch of exciting hits that I'm really eager to talk about. These are all the changes here. But real quick, before we get started, a couple of things. One, just want to make sure that if you're not aware, I do stream every weekend. Typically every weekend, here both on YouTube and over on Twitch. I actually simul stream. So if you are interested in catching me live, again, I usually go live on weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then you're going to want to not only subscribe or join as a member here on YouTube. Joining as a member, by the way, will get you access to VODs and edited videos early, but you might also want to go ahead and follow and sub over on twitch.tv/hexlex if you prefer to watch there as well. Sorry, it's twitch.tv/hexlex live, but the other thing I wanted to talk about before we actually talk about the cards that did get hit is a card that didn't, and that's Appaloosa, because this is the entirety of the comment section, I'm sure for this video, and for like pretty much every ban list discussion I've seen so far about this list is, where's Appaloosa? Where's Appaloosa? Where's Appaloosa? No mention of how excellent, okay, that's not true. Very little mention of how excellent these bands are, by the way. Just a bunch of people kind of complaining about Appaloosa not being here. That's just Yu-Gi-Oh! Player mentality, though. Always wanting more and more, especially from ban lists. God, especially from ban lists. I don't like discussing ban list changes outside of what Konami actually does, because I think talking about hypothetical ban list changes is totally pointless, and the amount of energy it would consume, I think, just absolutely interferes with your ability to comprehend and analyze the game at a competitive level. Now, make no mistake, I think Appaloosa would have been fine to be hit right now. I'm not saying that Appaloosa shouldn't get hit. I'm saying that it shouldn't get in the way of letting us actually talk about what did change, right? And let's be real, even if Appaloosa did get banned, it would not be enough for people. That same list, the comment section would just be people saying, but where's Max C? You know, it'll never end until people want to see their own custom ban list made into fruition. But like I said, I think now would actually not have been a bad time to ban Appaloosa, given that it's not only used prominently in Malice, obviously the most one of the most competitive decks in the format, but it's still used pretty prominently in stuff like Snake Eye and Ubel, which are both tier 2 decks. You know, Fiendsmith Engine, anything that's playing a Fiendsmith Engine can play Appaloosa, and the Fiendsmith Engine is still quite popular in MD. But one thing I see a lot of people say is that, well, Appaloosa is banned in TCG and OCG, why not ban it in Master Duel? And that, I think, is level 1 thinking for multiple reasons. But one of the big things I see about, like, that people say is, again, oh, it just got banned in the OCG, why not ban it here too? The thing about Appaloosa being banned in the OCG is that when it got banned in the OCG very recently, the only deck, the only tiered deck, I'm not exaggerating with, if you look at the top 10 decks, the only one using Appaloosa was Malice. And the Appaloosa ban didn't even affect Malice, they just played the new Ignister boss monster instead. At the same point, they would play Appaloosa and they could still play around Nibiru. Appaloosa was banned in the OCG at a time when it hurt rogue decks pretty much exclusively, and the banning of Appaloosa only benefited to establish the current meta. That's not something that anybody's talking about, even though it's unquestionably true, because, again, everyone is stuck on this level 1 mentality. Everyone is caught in level 1 thinking, Appaloosa bad, me no like Appo ban good. There is so much more nuance to it, and I would really encourage y'all to just open up your minds just a little bit. But anyway, enough about Appaloosa. She's not even on this list. It's pretty relevant to talk about her. Let's go ahead and talk about what is on this list here. So, these are excellent changes. By the way, these are changes that a lot of people have been saying that Master Duel would never make, to not only ban problem cards like these, but also to ban URs. There's a lot of people who have conspiracy theories out there that MD just intentionally avoids banning URs. That could not be further from the truth, especially this year in particular. Not just with Dweller and Scythe here, but think about how many URs have gotten hit from Snake Eye, right? Bonfire went down to 1, OSS went down to 1. That was already 90 UR points that Snake Eye players got back right there. So I think that people saying that Konami avoids hitting URs to, you know, give us more craft materials, I think that that might be true to a slight extent, but not nearly to the extent that people make it out to be, and this is definitely proof of that. The big thing to address in the room, of course, is that a lot of these changes are in anticipation of Ryzeal, right? Particularly Dweller and Scythe. Abyss Dweller and Artifact Scythe are both cards that, if you've played Master Duel for an extended period of time, you've probably come across at one point or another. They can both be quite frustrating cards, and Ryzeal can actually make use of both of them. both the Abyss Dweller to lock you out of your graveyard because it's a rank 4 deck, and they can actually pretty easily play the Artifact Scythe to lock you out of an extra deck because of the Ryzeal Detonator's ability to easily destroy it while face down. I think is what the use is, if I remember right. I haven't actually done that play myself or anything, but... So I wouldn't be surprised if Ryzeal came in the very near future, if not this next upcoming selection pack, probably just the one afterward. And that's why we're seeing these cards get banned. Now, I have seen a couple people say, oh, so they're not pre-hitting any Ryzeal cards. Keep in mind that pre-hits are not on the same announcement as a ban list update. If any of the Ryzeal cards do get pre-limited or semi-limited, then that will be announced when the pack is announced that contains them. So just because they're not on here doesn't mean it won't happen. But yeah, not only am I eager to get some 60 UR craft points, but I'm also pretty eager to see both of these cards go. Dweller is just a frustrating card. In Master Duel, the only time it really saw a ton of play was in Tier 0 format. But even in Tier 0 format, especially in Tier 0 format, it was so frustrating to be playing a tier limit mirror match and then your opponent summoned Dweller, because it just felt like what could have been an interesting game kind of came down to them having the foot. I mean, it's like Malice mirror matches, right? It's like when you're playing a Malice mirror and your opponent just has Lancia, and it's like, oh, okay, so this is just going to be like a very non-interactive game. It could have been an interesting back and forth, but instead it kind of comes down to this one card saying, I can't do my deck's main function. And Dweller is a lot of that, but even before, Master Duel and Tier Limits, Dweller, this also came up in like Mermail Atlantean formats, where Dweller, again, pretty easy to make in that deck, and shuts down the mirror match, as well as a lot of other decks. It's just the case often that any time a deck can really easily make a rank 4 and or is a water deck, Dweller is just going to come up and be a problem. So I'm totally fine with Abyss Dweller getting banned here. I think this is an excellent hit. And then the same with the Artifact Scythe, right? Like, Scythe is one of those cards where it's like, yeah, it hasn't really done anything super awful. I was gonna say lately, but if you really think about Master Duel's history, Scythe has not really been a part of a prominent Tier 1 deck. I think a lot of people are going to point to decks that could have optionally used Scythe in their, builds, but as far as like Scythe being a core, consistent part of the strategy that's always there, there hasn't really been a tiered Master Duel deck that's like that. I think the one that a lot of people will point to is Halcyon, but I think Scythe was like very, very optional in Halcyon. But I think that would have changed with Ryzeal though, and I think this did warrant getting pre-hit as a result. Again, just locking your opponent out of the extra deck. Plus, this card is a bit of a ticking time bomb in that regard. Somewhat true of Dweller too. That's honestly true of Appaloosa as well. Again, that's why I said I don't think it's a horrible idea to ban Appaloosa in general. And I think in Master Duel's timeline, this actually would have been a pretty good time to do it. But again, I'm not going to let that, I'm not going to cause it to let me ignore all the changes, the good changes that we do have here. Like, again, frankly, it seems like a lot of other players are doing. So yeah. Dweller, Scythe are definitely not only hits that are welcome, in my opinion, but also ones that are indicative of the fact that Ryzeal is probably coming in the very near future. Paradise Smasher. This is an excellent ban for two major reasons. One, of course, is obviously Memento. Paradise Smasher in Memento was a major player in the Duelist Cup, and even after and slightly before that point too. Pretty much ever since K9 became popular and people realized just how good this card was, and then people realized like, oh, this is actually really easy to make in Memento, then it got a lot more popular in Memento in Master Duel. But as mentioned, this is not only a hit to Memento, and a good one too, because Memento itself as a deck doesn't need hit. It's just that their ability to turbo out this card was a little bit ridiculous. This will also make K9 a lot more tolerable when it eventually comes to Master Duel. Excellent ban for the health of the game, not only right now, but also for the near future too. And one that the TCG has not implemented yet, which is kind of funny. That's another thing I've kind of been thinking about when I think about this ban list. This is probably going to be like this somewhere in the title of the video, but this ban list in particular to me just reaffirms that, I'm gonna dig my heels in. I'm gonna stand my ground on this. Master Duel has the best ban list, at least between Master Duel and TCG. I'm not familiar enough with the OCG as a format or its list off the top of my head to know to compare it directly, but when I'm comparing Master Duel and TCG ban lists directly, bans like these are so just chef's kiss, right? TCG would have never banned a Paradise Smasher before K9 came out because they gotta sell them K9 cards, right? But And that's the thing, like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players, which TCG players in particular, will try to point out all these reasons that, like, you know, TCG is better because they actually curb more strategies and are problem cards. But like, these are 3 very targeted problem cards that just got smacked from 3-0, no hesitation. In my opinion, when it comes to the TCG ban list and what it quote-unquote has over the MD list, I think you can point to exactly Max C. And maybe Appaloosa. Maybe. That one I'm a little like, eh. But outside of exactly those 2 cards being banned in the TCG, I think the TCG list is just completely abysmally worse in literally every single way. It's very blatantly designed in a way to sell you cards and prioritize that very heavily over the health of the game. And I'm not really sure why, you know, TCG players will celebrate that. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Not that Master Duel and the OCG don't also do that. Again, I think the OCG banning Appaloosa when they did was a move to push the current meta decks, because again, Appaloosa, at the time it was banned in the OCG, was not supporting any of the meta decks except for Malice, and again, Malice could very easily replace it. So I'm really happy to see Master Duel take this initiative for the health of the format. Like, you can't argue that banning Dweller and Scythe will help push Ryzeal, right? You could also argue that Ryzeal is already a good enough deck that doesn't need any more of a sales push, right? But still, the Paradise Smasher hit too, not only for current Memento, but also for future K9. Such an insanely good quality of life improvement. These bans, and the fact they all went from 3-0, they didn't try to like be like cute and be like, oh, well, we'll just limit them and see how it goes, because these cards, of course, are always, you know, only ever played at once. So for these cards to all go from 3-0, this to me is like tried and true proof that Master Duel has the most proactive ban list when it comes to the health of the game. Also keeping in mind bans like Merly and Snake Eye Oak, Master Duel is always, no, not always, I won't say always, that's definitely a bit of a stretch, but Master Duel typically keeps in mind the health of the game, right? While keeping the decks that it's hitting as playable as possible. And I think that is the best way to do ban lists. So yeah, I'm gonna stand by this. I think Master Duel has the best ban list philosophy. And again, aside from Maxi and maybe Appaloosa, I think the TCG list has absolutely nothing on Master Duel list. But there is one other change we haven't talked about yet, which is Gateway of the 6 going from 1 to 3. Now, if you're like me and you live the 6 Samurai Tier 0 meta of 2011, 12, I think it was 11. It was Storm of Ragnarok, right? I'm pretty sure when that stuff came out, but you might get a little bit, you might be sweating a little bit when you see Gateway go to 3, because you might be remembering the infinite Gateway loops. Well, if you haven't played against 6 Samurai recently, which I wouldn't blame you for, it's not a very popular deck at all, you'll know that Gateway actually doesn't even need to be at 3 for them to do an infinite amount of plays. With even one Gateway of the 6 Samurai can already do literally infinite special summons. Their biggest enemy, aside from just about any given hand trap, being the timer, right? So yeah, I think this change is completely fine. It looks scary, but all it's really going to do is make a combo deck that already sees 0 play like slightly more consistent, and you'll probably see more 6 Samurai around, with diehard fans loving the fact that Gateway's at 3, but I don't think it'll make the deck too much more competitive. It does make me wonder if we're going to see in the next selection pack some of the follow-up 6 Samurai support that has not been released in Master Duel yet. 6 Samurai does still have another wave that is yet to be introduced into the game, so much like the bans kind of hint towards Ryzeal, this Unlimit to me kind of hints towards 6 Samurai coming out. But yeah, I think Gateway to 3 is completely fine. Like I said, deck is not competitive. Well, it's not very competitive right now. I would call it lower rogue for sure. I don't think the new wave makes it broken either, so I don't think the new wave with 3 Gateway is going to be an issue. So yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about this ban list here. Again, I think this is a phenomenal list. This is a I was gonna say 10 out of 10. I might call this more of a 9 out of 10 ban list, which is still really, really good. Despite being small, it's hugely impactful. It addresses a lot of problem cards, taking them straight from 3-0. And I don't think the fact that Appaloosa isn't on here, I don't think that takes away from this ban list at all. I think this ban list really does show again that Konami is thinking mostly, maybe not entirely, but at least mostly about the health of the game and being proactive about it when it comes to Master Duel's ban list. So, chef's kiss, absolutely love it. But what do you think of the list? Definitely feel free to let me know in the comments below. And thank you also for watching the video all the way to the end. Hugely helpful, by the way. You have no idea how much that helps. Not just my channel, but any smaller channel. If you're watching their videos all the way to the end, you are hugely, hugely supportive. Thank you, thank you. But that's gonna do it for now. Let's just go ahead and move on to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.